Hi, welcome Jairaj. So I welcome you on the ELC's interactive series. This series is for the students who are aspiring for MBA entrance examination in this current year. And Jairaj Neve is our student who's currently studying in IIM Udaipur. So he has officially completed 1 year with this particular college. And I suppose he must be having his internship now. He must have just started with it. So, Jairaj,
Yeah.
we want to know your 1 year complete journey with IIM Udaipur, and that is why I'll be asking a list of questions to you. So, should we start?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So, Jairaj, how is the normal or a regular routine in IIM
Mhm.
Udaipur ever since it has started in terms of lectures or assignments?
Okay, so starting with the journey. So when I got inducted, we have a program, we have our inductions, we get inducted into our college. And once our lectures and everything started, so it was a great journey, a great experience. As term one is really important with respect to subjects, with respect to knowledge we get in. So the routine was we have lectures. The timings are mostly in the morning, so right from 9 till afternoon we have our classes. After classes we have some submissions. Some subjects have submissions, some subjects have group assignments, some subjects have individual assignments, so we have to go ahead with those in the remaining time span. And then some extra club work or committee work, because it's a student driven campus, so we also have those things lined up for us. So also we have to focus on that. So that's a basic schedule.
So, roughly, you spend around 4.5 to 5 hours on lectures on a daily basis.
Yes. 4 hours, 4 to 4.5 hours. Yeah.
All right. So, in spite of this online module, currently you do have group assignments and group tasks which are given.
Yes, the focus is actually more on group assignments as well compared to the individual assignments, because as the peer learning should not stop is what IIMs aim for. So this is what they practice, and they have successfully done this in the online platform as well. So we didn't feel that we were lagging something. Yeah, obviously there was a bit of lag initially, but IIM Udaipur specifically onboarded students quite early on the campus, as our lectures were online to keep teachers and the faculty members safe. But we students were in the hostel following every COVID norm which is possible, like sanitizing, keeping our masks on. And we also did a couple of offline events also to get a overview about how things go about in an IIM in offline mode as well. And compared to all these things, we also had our exams offline, so it was something quite great. Yeah, so our first term was online, and the second term exams, and the third term the pre-midterm. The third term pre-midterm was conducted offline, so we had our exams offline as well. So that was also a great experience.
Who could get an exposure for online and offline format in spite of the COVID.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
So Jairaj, how is the MBA education different from graduation? And
so my
you are a graduate from pharmacy background, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so graduation is a stream which most of us who are watching this video would agree upon, that we end up, when our peers, because of peer pressure or maybe parental pressure or something like that. So we actually don't have interest when it comes to graduation. But post graduation is something which we ourselves select.
Right.
Like we ourselves select the course, like what we have to do, what not. So graduation, my journey with my graduation was a bit okay. It was not that great, but still, pharma was not my core interest. I wanted to do MBBS. I wanted to get into medical line, but as my score was not that great, I landed up into a pharmacy course. So I did my pharmacy course, and at the end, when pharmacy course was ending, I got to know that this is not what I want to pursue in future. Okay, so then I landed up a job in sales. After pharma, I got into sales. I started working in sales. So I got to know a few people who were sales representatives, and a few people who were managers. So talking with them, talking with our peers and everything, I got to know what MBA is. And then I joined classes with you. Then I got to know more about MBA, got to explore more what the entrance exams are, how it goes about everything. So that's a difference between PG and graduation. And specifically, when you get into MBA, it's a very professional degree. So small things which you don't learn in graduation, like some people are afraid of presenting, some people are afraid of, these small things, these small personal things now you get to learn in MBA a lot more.
Yes.
Like MBA changes you completely as a person. So that's the core difference, which I'll say.
In fact, I still remember the day you came at ELC for counseling. When I came to know that you're a pharma student. We had also suggested to you that there's a scope of pharma MBA, and you outrightly said that
Yes,
I do not want to continue my further education in the pharma stream.
yes, yes.
One thing that you were very sure.
I don't want to continue my education into pharma, but I'm open to work in pharma industry
Absolutely, yes.
in the managerial roles,
Yes.
obviously, the roles which MBA gives us.
Yeah, the core knowledge that you have gained in the pharma specialization, you can definitely add on to with your MBA degree. That would be better.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Jairaj, can you tell us the distribution of the batch in terms of graduation streams and experience, non-experience, or gender diversity?
Yeah. Yes. So basically, talking initially about the gender diversity, we have 30% females in our campus and 70% are male. Then talking about work experience, people with prior work experience, 59% of a batch comprises of people with prior work experience.
Okay.
So a lot of people coming from diverse experience, diverse backgrounds, people working in sales, people working in core manufacturing, people who have their own startups. So these are some things which we got to learn a lot from them. 41% of the batch still has freshers.
Okay.
And the core 20%, which lies between 13 to 24 months of work ex, is what 20, it's 20% of the people who have an around, it's called the sweet work experience. It's 2 years, from 1 to 2 years of the period. Not too much and not too less. So it's great for recruiters as well. So that's the 20%, 19% to be precise. And the average work experience of the batch still is 27 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there are a lot of experienced people. Also some great, we have, I don't know the exact percentage of the distribution, but we have people from IITs, we have people from BITS, we have people from NITs, then the commerce, big league colleges like SRCC, Miranda House. So yeah, we also have those kind of people, peers around us.
Okay. And you do have BCom grads and BBA grads?
Yes. 67% are engineers.
Okay.
67% are engineers, 10% come from science background, 6% from business background, and the rest are then others. They come into others. Yeah, so 6% from the business background as well.
Quite a good diversity, I must say.
Yeah.
What is the study pedagogy in the online format that Udaipur has adopted?
Talking specifically about Udaipur, as I was in Udaipur and I know how Udaipur goes about its pedagogy. So basically, our learning is completely focused on case study pattern. Okay. And Udaipur is famous for its academic rigor.
Okay.
Yeah, it differentiates itself because of its academic rigor and some great academic projects and professors which are in our college. So the pedagogy is that we have a case study, we have a lot of pre-reads to do before the classes. So it's not just about the classes. And if we don't do our pre-reads case studies, we are told to leave our meetings. We are told to leave the classes. Okay. Yeah, we are not allowed to sit in classes when we have not done our pre-reads. So we have to do the pre-reads. They are long, 30, 40 pages case studies. And then the discussion. See, initially I was not, that competent to read so much of cases in one day and then going to the classes. But now as everyone around us reads them, and because of that, it helped me a lot personally, because when I used to read and sit in my classes, then I used to know the case facts, what the case is about. And then teacher gives us a very different kind of, opinion or maybe her expertise into that case. And before that, we discuss the case in class. So teacher opens the platform for us. Like, what do you feel? What do you feel? So as we don't know how the offline culture goes, but in the online medium also, we were told to raise hands. All the ethics were followed, etiquettes were followed into the classrooms. Yeah, it was a great experience. So this is what it goes about. And also the personal projects we are given. So some are individual projects and some are industry projects. So these projects help us a lot in, studying and getting a gist about the industry.
Okay, all right. Just a question. How many cases do you, on an average, read on a daily basis? Have you read?
On a daily basis, maybe 1 or 2. Depends on the classes. how much classes do we have for the next day. But we definitely have pre-reads for every class. Like, it's not that you just go and sit into some classes, as some subjects are there which don't have cases, but the professors expects us to read the topic which is going to be taught, these things. So yeah, the professor definitely wants us to read and come.
Okay. How is the evaluation method? I mean, while you perform in the class, even then people are evaluated?
Yes. So our basic evaluation goes about, so our CGPA, which comes at the end of the term, it has a few components which are considered. It is class participation. One component of it is class participation. How you participate in your class, how quality answers you give in your classes, how quality points you put up in the class. They are marked by teacher's assistant. TAs are there into our classrooms which mark all these answers. Then we have individual submissions. It is graded. Then we have surprise quizzes.
Okay.
We are not aware about those. Suddenly a mail drops in, like at 1:30 p.m. or something. Suddenly a mail comes in, half an hour, you have to give a test. And it's a test where we are evaluated and we are also given marks on it. Teachers checks it. So it's a written paper, or maybe some Google form comes in where we have to just tick the answer. So it's that way. So quizzes are a component. Then group project is a component which is also given the marks, and then the final examination. And in the final examination, it's split into two things: midterm and end term.
Achha.
So these are the big range of. So basically, in an IIM, it's not like that. In graduation, yeah, the difference which you asked now, this also one point which weighs into that. In graduation, most of us have the habit of studying one night before the exam.
Right.
But in an IIM, this doesn't work well. So this would work for some, but this doesn't work well if you want to score or get a good CGPA, because every day is weighed. Every day, every of your component, whatever you do has something or the other contribution in the CGPA. So you have to study.
This was a very valid point that you told. So people who are desiring to get into an IIM, they now know what to expect.
Yeah.
Jairaj, can you talk something about the committees and their working? So which all committees do you have? And how is the selection process that goes about with the committee, being a committee member?
Yeah. So we have a lot of committees. We have almost, I don't know the exact number to be honest, but it's 20 or 25 plus. We have those many of committees into our campus, and some are functional committees. Some are SCOs, interest groups. We also have SIGs, which are interest groups. And then we have the core groups, like one is a general secretary, GS. Then comes THOR, the House of Representatives, which monitors the college and the basic functioning of a college. So our college is basically completely student driven, right from student onboarding on the campus to student vacating the campus. Every of a journey, there is some or the other student who is regulating it.
Okay.
Yeah, collaborating it with the administration team.
Okay.
So that's how our campus functions. There are a lot of clubs and committees, like Consult You is the consulting club, Marklan is the marketing club. So these are the functional club. We have Octaves. I am part of Octaves, the musical society of IIM Udaipur. Then Footworks is the dance. So we have everything, right from infrastructure committee. Like we also have the infrastructure committee who works on infrastructure. Like if a tube light in my hostel is not working, I'll just email the infrastructure committee and they'll look into this. Okay. So it's a completely student-run campus, and students get to learn a lot from this.
Wow. Okay. And how's the selection process to get into a committee? Are you
so
through an interview or something?
Yeah, it's a process which senior team conducts. Like when we got into our first years, our first terms, then we are told that these are the clubs and committees. There are PPTs. Seniors gave us PPTs how it all goes. Which clubs do you have interest in? Which clubs to target? Some of the elite clubs like media team, placement committee, and all these things. Some are elective bodies. Some process goes into elections. Like there are a pre-process to be followed, and after that you have elections. You have to stand in front of your batch. You have to pitch yourself that why are you the most important candidate for this role. So then you get into that committee. Some functional clubs, like some functional clubs don't require you to get elected. They are selected. So seniors get a process. You have to fill some lengthy forms. You have to go through a stringent process. Then the final round is the interview round, and then you get selected or inducted into that specific club.
Okay. Great. That's really interesting. Any events or competitions that you've participated and the college offers in terms of intercollegiate competitions?
Inter-college competitions, yes. The clubs and committees work really hard, and they arrange some great competitions which are also floated on D2C. So these are the basic competitions which we float for people to compete. Then we have our management fest, Solaris. So in that also we float a lot of competitions for outside people to participate in and win some and great prizes. So that's how our culture goes with respect to competitions and all. And events, we have Audacity, which is our cultural event, the biggest cultural fest which we have in Aravali's. So we also conduct that. So it's apart from the academic thing, it's a cultural event. But yeah, as you mentioned events, so this is one of the events which we perform.
Nice. How is the peer interaction going on in the online scenario?
As for me, it was offline because I was onboarded into the very first batch of onboarding in September itself. So right from last September till this April, last day of my college, I was into my college with my peers. So the onboarding process was 60 to 80 people in one batch, following all the quarantine norms initially, getting tested twice. And when you get tested negative, then you come out of your quarantine and you're allowed to interact. That too with masks and sanitizers and everything, proper, following all the COVID norms. Yeah. So I was the one to experience the greatest and the best peer interaction in my life.
Wow.
So we have a lot of hostels. So that typical MBA Riga life, I got to experience that in the hostel itself.
So I mean,
so the peer interaction is good.
So
but talking in general, yeah.
So in spite of COVID, you enjoyed the offline interaction with your peers.
Yes. We also celebrated some festivals into our college, like Diwali. We celebrated Diwali. Every event we conducted we tried to get it offline as much as possible, with the lowest risk to be for the students. We actually were onboarded and the campus was closed. Like once you get into the campus, you're not allowed to go out of the campus. So for the whole of my time where I was in the campus, I was campus locked. Okay. So you have that 300 acres beautiful campus for you to enjoy, and the facilities are quite great. So I didn't even feel like I'm missing the extra outside life. Okay. So that was great, and there were a lot of people. So it was great. And we also had COVID tests quite frequently onto our campus. And fortunately, none of us got COVID a lot. A few cases were there at the campus. It was there in each and every campus, but we handled it properly according to the government norms. So that also was not an issue.
But I must say that you've been exposed to this right from the beginning, because your father is a doctor. So
yeah,
you were like, I mean, your family must have experienced it. He must be going to the hospital and, handling the patients. So I remember you telling me that we are taking utmost care, and especially when my father is getting exposed to the patients, he has to do his duty.
So yeah, he has to do his duty. So yeah, we were exposed.
Right. Good. So you must have just started with your summer internship, I believe, right?
Yes. Yeah. A month into my internship.
Okay. So how is the summer internship placement process? How do the company...
Okay. So talking about the basic process, I don't know how much I am allowed to talk about this process, but I'll keep it quite general, not talking specifically about the core process which goes into. I'll talk about preparation, what you have to do to get into a good company for summers. So basically, shortlisting is not in our hand, because it's completely company's choice and what to shortlist, whom to shortlist and whom to not. But before getting a shortlist, what you can do is basic HR questions which you prepare for an IIM interview. So you can practice those quite well. Then you can get into a few intricacies, small things which are guesstimates or something like that if you are targeting some big league consulting firms. Or so there's a domain specific preparation which comes in. So you have to prepare domain wise. If you want to get into marketing, if you get a shortlist in marketing, then you have to get to know a few concepts from Kotler, which are basics. They don't ask anything much more than that. And most of the summer interviews are revolving around your personality and what you did in your past, because they know you are new to this process. You don't have much of experience into MBA, you have not studied a lot. Majorly, you have studied half of your first term, so they can ask you a few basics which you probably would know after going through this rigor. So you know that basics. So most importantly, you should know yourself. You should know why into MBA, why into this firm specifically, and about the firm as well. You should research about the firm, the CEO, and everything. That's the basic research and preparation everyone does. So these are some basic steps, and some companies have a rigorous process. Like they take your aptitude test initially, then then they push you to a GD round. Then after your GD round, they get to the final interviews. So this is the basic thing which we saw for most of the companies coming.
Great. Any specific achievement about your faculties that you would want to tell and share with the students?
Whatever I am, Udaipur faculties are, whoever they are, it's already on our site. So if you want to go and check on our websites, detailed things are given about faculties, but specifically there are some faculties like our director Janat sir. So he has completed his MBA from IIM Ahmedabad. So he is an IIM Ahmedabad alum. Then he has worked in IIM Bangalore as well, and his specialization is operations, and he is leading this institute since past 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so I personally have met him. I had a word with him. So he's definitely the best director, I would say, whoever I have met in my life, the best person, you can say that as well. Then there comes a few professors like Professor Uday Damodaran sir. He's also done he's the best finance faculty in India, one of the best finance faculties in India, I will say, because the way he teaches us finance is really great. So Professor Uday Damodaran, he also have worked in XLRI before. So he was a professor in XLRI Jamshedpur. Then we have Ashish Galande sir for marketing. He's also done his FPM from IIM Bangalore. So basically whatever our professors are, they are all from the old IIMs. They have done something or the other into the old IIMs, and also a few professors from Purdue University, IIT Madras, IIT Roorkee. Then I don't remember specific things. You can check every detail of every professor on our web page. But these are a few prominent personalities which we have. And on our board of directors, we have Harsha Bhogle on our board of directors, and also Shiv Shivakumar. Shiv Shivakumar is also a business leader into. Yeah, so he's also famous. So you must be knowing Shiv Shivakumar and Harsha Bhogle. And we have our Vision 2030 collaborated with these guys. So these guys are leading our institute for our Vision 2030 program. Wow. So we have a Vision 2030 for our college, for our institute, to grow in research sector, in placements, as well as student knowledge and peer learning. So we are targeting this Vision 2030, which is under leadership of Shiv Shivakumar, Professor Janat Shah, and our other board of directors as well.
Wow. Any grooming tips that you want to give to the MBA aspirants?
Grooming tips to the MBA aspirants who are preparing for CAT?
Yes.
Or they have done their CAT and preparing for interviews, because
anything. So the journey begins from preparing for CAT and then how to convert the cons.
Okay, so for CAT preparation, I will suggest them for verbal, they should read a lot. So I personally used to read from aeon.co. It's a website where a lot of articles are there, which CAT also uses at times. So the articles are such that we get to see a lot of similar articles into the CAT exam, and the Hindu editorial section. So I basically focused on reading a lot for verbal. For DILR, I used to just sit and solve and practice, because there's no other way to get a good grip about DILR section. For the quant section, I'll suggest them to. So coming from a pharma background, I was completely weak in my quantitative aptitude section. So what I personally did was I took up the Sarvesh Verma Quantum CAT book, and I started solving it question by question. And then slowly, after getting a good grip on some topics, I started solving those questions without paper and pen. So solving orally could also help. It will save your time. And what I especially did for quant section is I didn't study for the section. I studied for the exam.
Okay.
I didn't study the subject in the core details. Like I got to know how much weightage should be given to arithmetic, how much weightage should be given to algebra. So I had a target of solving all the easy questions and leaving the moderate ones for the second round. So that's the strategy which I used. So if you leave a easy question in your exam, then your percentile comes down, as other people tend to solve it, as your competitions are quite competent engineers from IIT background. So they just solve each and every quant question coming their way. So you have to get good with quant. So that's the tip for CAT which I'll give. It's a small thing which you can follow, but and for the interview process, you have to read. Again, you have to read. You have to read newspapers. You have to, if you have a work experience, then you have to go through your work experience, what you did, what achievements you got there. You have to sort your life basically. What I'll suggest is, what I personally did was, I started writing an article about my life, like what I faced right from my schooling, because there are a few things, which small things, which are like achievements, but you don't remember it if you don't sit and write that what did you do in your 10th. Okay, I did this, and also achieved this. Then I did this in my 11th, I did this in my 12th. So I was missing on a few musical events which I did initially. Then after giving a few mock interviews, the interviewer told me that, what, peek into yourself, you must be having something. People always cry, like I used to always cry, like I have no achievements, I have nothing, I have not done anything. But there are a small few things which you can show to the panel, that I have achieved these small things into my life, into career, as of now, what I did. So that also helps a lot. So writing down helps you as you remember things. And the HR questions which you are going to practice, always write them down and practice them in front of your mirror. So you know what your facial expressions are, how you talk, how you go about it. So these are the things which help you a lot.
Right, right. Very correct. And any certifications a student can take, or rather any preparation they can do before joining an MBA college?
And before joining an MBA college, I don't think, I personally don't feel there is any need to do any certificate or courses. The time which you get when you have got into a college and the actual college is going to start, it's actually a month or so. You can just chill, sleep as much as you can, as the sleep schedule in IIM is not that great. Like I used to sleep for 2 to 3 hours, because the projects which we do now, they take a lot of time.
Right.
They take a lot of time, a lot of chunk of time. What I suggest them is, if they're keen in reading, then start reading with some good books before getting into IIM, like 0 to 1. It's a book. It's a great book to read for startup. Right. So if you're going to pursue your life as a startup, you get to know some few things after reading those books. Like Phil Knight has written his journey about how Nike started, how he started Blue Ribbon in the book called The Shoe Dog. Then The House That Jack Ma Built. So these are the books which I feel I have read, and everyone should read as well. Wow. Because these are some great books. I also have a list. I'll share them with you, so you can share them with the current aspirants. Definitely. Whenever you get time, you should read these books. Definitely. It helps.
Thanks a lot, Jairaj. So that almost covers the entire journey. And so 1 year has been definitely an improvement in you, and definitely something where, I've seen a change in your personality altogether. You sound very much more professional, and you sound very focused now. That's a major change that I've seen in you. Thanks a lot.
Everything. Yeah, every of this thing goes to, all this credit goes to my professors. IIM professors who built me as a person, and the peers, basically peers, they contribute a lot. They contributed a lot. My friends, then friends more, to be honest. The people you get into IIM,
Definitely. So we wish you all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.